everyone, and welcome back, guys, to AOR Season 14, and we are finally returning after the Christmas break for round 11 of the season here at the Hungaroring. Not really a track that I'm a fan of, but first of all, as I do every week, I'm going to leave you on board with my fastest qualifying lap. Enjoy the face cam as well for this. You know, I thought I'd try something a little bit different after you guys voted for it on Twitter. Out of the final corner though, and down towards the line, and it's only going to be P7 at that moment in time during the session, but straight away we get demoted to P8 there. So a little bit gutting on that lap. You know, definitely a couple of clear mistakes that really could have left me a little bit further up the field. But I'm going to look at the gap to the cars in front. You know, I think sort of P8 really was about where my pace was in that qualifying session. My car was completely set up for the dry, so, you know, really hoping that that would pay dividends in this race, but we shall wait and see. Here we are though on the grid, ready for the start of this race. Going to try and do the bit of the overcut strategy on the rest of the field, but it is 5 lights on the grid, and it is finally lights out, and away we go, getting off to actually a pretty damn decent start there next to Midget alongside me there. Down in towards Tom, we're going to move straight up into P7 there. We're going to try and break, you know, fairly comfortably down in towards T1. Diehard fan there just completely punts me into the corner there. He completely missed his braking point there. Somehow he didn't get any damage from that, and he does take the position as well. But down in towards turn 2 though, we're going to keep it down the inside there. Brake a little bit later than Diehard on the outside there, and we now move up into P7 of the Grand Prix there. So overall, we actually made up one position off those first couple of corners there, which is really good to see it coming now down into Sector 2 here. Everyone just absolutely parking the bus there. I somehow managed to lock up the tyres at 125 miles an hour there, so not really too sure how I managed that. Out of turn 5 there, we think about having a look up the inside of XR Bobs there, but think better of it as we come down in towards this, you know, in towards this horrible, you know, 90-degree corner section of this circuit. A lot of people really like this area of the Hungaroring, but I'm really just not a fan of it as we come through in towards the final sector. That final corner I sort of enjoy, you know, when I get it right. It is really satisfying here. Nearly run into the back of Bobbers though as we come down in through the final sector here. But coming towards the end of lap 1, actually most people opting to start on a set of the super soft tyres. The only cars ahead of me was Bobberts and Franglish that opted to go on a set of the soft tyres. We now skip on to lap 5. Speaking of Franglish there, unfortunately, he's completely dropped it over the death curve there on the inside of turn 5 there. Really unfortunate for him, as unfortunately that is going to, well, not ruin his race, but it's going to really set him back in this Grand Prix, and that does inherit me up into P6 here. So we're making up places in the early stages of this Grand Prix. We're making up a bit of ground here and there as we go along, but you can see we're losing Bobberts just ever so slightly here. But on to lap 6 though, he completely lags out there, suddenly reappears alongside me here, and now as we finish ghosting there, he's going to be on the outside of me. I'm not really going to complain about this opportunity that's just been handed to me there. Lose the back end out of the final corner, but we got the DRS. It's a drag race down this start-finish straight here. He's lagging still all next to me there, and I think because of that, he is going to back out ever so slightly down in towards T1 there. Thinks about trying to go for the switchback move there, but we're nice and comfortably on at the power. We have the DRS once again there, and we now move up into P5 of this Hungarian Grand Prix here. As you can see, we've got LGS Sam F1 LFC and TRL Ellis just up ahead of me here, and these three are all fighting it so much in the early stages of this race. Unfortunately for me, though, we weren't really able to capitalise on this too much. TRL Ellis had already pitted in on lap 11 here, and now LGS Sam and the race leader P1 R Brown all going to dive into the pits on the end of lap 12 of this Grand Prix. I think only Sam actually opted to go onto a set of the medium tyres there. Brown and Ellis both opted to go onto a set of the soft tyres here. But we're now up into the lead of this Hungarian Grand Prix. The third race, I think, in a row, actually, that we've managed to somehow lead. Well, no, I think we've led every single race since Canada. I think we've led at one point or another there, which has been quite a nice little stat to have to my name here. But unfortunately, that's not going to last particularly long, as you can see. Just a couple of laps later, though, Franglish once again on the charge here. You know, he's just that bit quicker than me, unfortunately. We were really struggling for pace at this moment in time, and he's going to get a bit of a better run down onto the start-finish line here. He's running a little bit less wings than myself with the DRS as well. Breaking down in towards T1, he sends one down the inside there. We make sure to give him the room. He just shut the door a little bit there on the exit. Didn't really give me, you know, much room to go anywhere there, but he now moves up into the lead of the Grand Prix. We think about holding it up the inside there, but not really worth the fight. He runs deep in towards turn 2 there, but we just stay, you know, hold station just behind him here, and now we move back down into P2 of the Grand Prix. But as I said, you know, he's that little bit quicker than me, not really worth fighting at this moment in time. But now, as we skip on to lap 20 for my one and only pit stop of this Grand Prix, we're going to move on to a set of the super soft tyres here for the final 14 laps of this race. P1 R Brown already has gone past me there, so, you know, the chance of the race victory is completely gone out of the window here. But LGS flies past. I think Bobberts is also in the pit lane here, so Sam F1 LFC and both Renaults of Franglish and Ellis both fly past me as well there. So we come out of the pits down in P6 of this Grand Prix here, and hopefully, you know, obviously we're going to be on a much quicker set of tyres, a bit fresher as well. You know, these next 10 laps are going to be crucial to try and capitalise on these guys. You know, if they do make mistakes, and obviously first on the old hit list would be TRL Ellis here, as we can see, coming through the first couple of corners. So the grip is absolutely phenomenal on the fresh set of tyres. You know, just so much extra room to push here. But now on to lap 23 here, struggling behind Ellis. He just seems to lag at exactly the wrong points for myself. You would have just seen there at the start of that clip, he did lag back into me a tiny bit. He'd already given me front wing damage thanks to this lag. See, actually on the right hand side there, the end plate was just a little bit knocked, unfortunately for myself there. And now, yeah, I'm going to look towards turn 1 here. We've got the DRS, we've got the slipstream there. He goes a bit defensive. We move to the outside there. He tries to shut the door just a little bit there, but we're going to try and go for a bit of a cheeky switchback move here, struggling on the power ever so slightly here. And Ellis once again is going to go defensive. We're going to dart back to the outside there, brake very late there. Try to go for a bit of a switchback move there, and somehow get really good drive off the corner there. Up the inside we go through turn 4. Unfortunately, squeeze him out wide there, just not enough downforce on that car with a tiny bit of damage there. But Ellis backs out up through turn 4 there, and we now move back up into P5 of the Grand Prix there. Really surprised, you know, the overdrive we were able to get over him there, down in through turn 3 there. But now you can see next up will be Franglish here in this Grand Prix. But unfortunately for me, you know, there are just a couple of little mistakes towards the end of this stint, and just the tyre degradation on this set of the super soft tyres there unfortunately meant, you know, there was no chance really we were able to get up right properly close to those guys. But P1 R Brown does win the Grand Prix. Very well done to him. I think that's now the 7th winner in 11 races in this season. I think, you know, that was one that was definitely long overdue. Brown very quick in these cars. LGS I think came P2 overall there, with Sam F1 LFC getting P3, Franglish P4, myself in P5, Vitero Ellis in P6 overall there. So overall, I think, yeah, a decent race on the whole. We scored more good points on the board. I'm not really, you know, too focused on the Drivers' Championship. You know, I'm way too far back for that. I'd like to get a top 3 overall, but I think now the main aim would be the Constructors with Coldhead there. We are in a battle with Sam over that. No, that's just how OP he seems to be in this season there. But yeah, we are in a battle. I think now after this Grand Prix we're about 8 points back in the Constructors' standings there. But happy overall with P5 in that Grand Prix. And having a look at the podium celebration as well. Actually, you know, the first time I think I've ever actually seen the Haas, you know, win a Grand Prix on this game. So quite a nice, you know, a little bit of change during that race. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Do not forget to like, subscribe if you're new around here as well, and you have gone on to enjoy it. Next week out will be the Belgian Grand Prix, and I'm really looking forward to that. Belgium and Monza, 2 of probably my strongest tracks on this game, so really hoping we can have a good result at those 2 races, but we shall wait and see. But yeah, as I said, hopefully you've enjoyed. I'm going to leave you on board. I'm going to leave you with the final results. As you can see, a lot of people ending up with penalties in that race. But as I said, I will see you guys next time. The Belgian Grand Prix, my favourite track on the Formula 1 calendar, and hopefully I'll see you there.